This is Rich Piana. The first thing you notice about him probably isn't his hat or his tattoos, it's his ginormous rich pythons. If you want the respect of your peers, you need big arms. That's easier said than done though. You've been curling every other day for months and it isn't working. So how do you stop having small arms? There's 5 factors you need to know about if you want pythons of your own. Biceps. You'd expect your biceps to be the biggest part of your arms, but it's actually one of the smallest. It's no secret that the biceps are the poster child of your muscles, the most popular by far. Everyone loves the biceps. Luckily, training them is very simple. In fact, you can effectively grow them forever with just one workout, the preacher curl. The preacher curl gets a bad rap. It looks scary because of all the videos of people tearing their biceps performing it. This happens because the preacher puts your biceps into an extremely stretched position at an extremely high tension. Most people program it incorrectly. They don't train at that fully stretched position normally. Due to that, when they do hit a proper rep, they're going into a full stretch with weight that's too heavy and their tendons just haven't caught up yet. Put those two together and you get this. Youch. The reality is, it's one of the best bicep workouts there is. It's actually the insane stretch that makes it so effective. It's been shown time and time again that the most hypertrophic part of a lift is the stretch position. That means having high tension when your muscles are stretched leads to greater muscle growth on average. Not just that, preacher curls also keep your elbows locked onto a stable surface, meaning you are fully isolating the biceps. As long as you consistently train in the stretch position and start light, working your way up, you won't have any issues with preacher curls. I would go as far to say it's the best exercise for your biceps simply because of its stretch and isolation. You don't need to only train the preacher curls, however. Really, you can train any curl variation you like. Some people swear by things like the Bayesian cable curl, and that one's great too. Outside of isolation, you also get some indirect stimulus when you do anything with your back. Pull-ups, rows, things like that. There's another big factor to your biceps, however, that you may have never thought about: genetics. A lot of people think their genes limit them in the gym, and in a way, they might be right. A big part of the visual size of your arms comes from your genetics, but not in the way you might expect. Most muscles in the body have different ways they can sit on your frame called insertions. For your arms, the most consequential insertion is that of your biceps. Your biceps are going to fall somewhere between long and short insertions. Long insertions make your arms look thicker. Short insertions make them peak higher. The man I brought up earlier, Rich Piana, had long bicep insertions, so his arms look sort of like a horse's legs, thick and full, even at rest. Wink. The other side of that is someone like Arnold. He had much shorter insertions and thus peakier arms. One's not necessarily better than the other, but they complement wildly different looks and cannot be changed by training. The best course is to take advantage of what you have. Here's the good news though. You're not completely hopeless if you wish your arms could be thicker or peakier. There's another muscle that actually does both, but you probably don't even know it exists: the brachialis. If you don't train this muscle, you are leaving major size and aesthetics on the table. The brachialis is buried deeper, it's larger, and it contributes to as much size as the beloved biceps. Because they're buried, the brachialis does its aesthetic work by pushing the biceps up and broadening out the arms. Have you ever noticed some people look much smaller depending on how their arms are angled? That's probably from an underdeveloped brachialis. Not only does it improve the visual peak of the biceps, it also makes the arms thicker when viewed head on. The reason people don't train it often is because they just don't know it exists. It's not visible, so it gets ignored, but that's a huge mistake. Training it is very simple. All you need is neutral grip bicep work. Hammer curls are the most convenient version of this. It's just a normal curl, but with your palms faced sideways or neutral rather than in a supinated position. When you do this, it shifts the role of elbow flexion from the biceps to the brachialis. This leads to an increased bias of the brachialis. It's very simple, but it makes a huge difference in improving your physique. Getting lean. Does being lean really change how big you look? Short answer, yes, absolutely. Apart from making it easier to get off the toilet, getting lean helps accentuate your muscle bellies, making it more obvious that you have them. Improving definition like this, even if you're getting smaller by weight and cross-sectional volume, makes you appear larger. More definition and vascularity can make you look like you punch well above your weight class. Because of that, it makes for a really important part of looking large. Ironically, being smaller makes you look bigger. Now, getting lean could be an entire video in and of itself, so I'll keep this part short. Stay on the lookout for that one in the next couple of weeks. Getting lean is about 3 things. You need to be in a calorie deficit, eat a lot of protein, and train with intensity and progressive overload. That last part actually applies to the entire rest of this video. If you aren't training with high intensity and you're not making any weight or rep progression, you're just wasting your time in the gym. If you want a deeper dive on progressive overload, check out my video on it after this one. The last key to huge arms is actually a surprisingly controversial subject. It's the triceps. Most people neglect their triceps, and that might be your biggest mistake. Because they're set in the back of your arms, they're out of the way and they're often overshadowed by the more immediately visible biceps. Reality is, the triceps make up 2/3 of the mass of the upper arms. Some people don't even train them, period. Could you imagine if you tried to drive only 1/3 of a car? If you only made 1/3 of a sandwich? It's a travesty. You might be asking what exactly triceps do visually. Well, astute viewer, they improve your arms from basically every angle. In a front double bi, the triceps are extremely apparent, particularly the long and medial heads. When viewed from the side, the triceps are a huge part of that well-rounded, thick profile that people often chase. If you aren't making it a point to train your triceps consistently, you are making a huge mistake. Training your triceps is actually fairly easy. You just need to use a good variety in your training. For one, your triceps get a lot of indirect stimulus already. If you've ever done a pressing motion, some kind of bench or overhead press, congratulations, you've trained your triceps. When it comes to isolation, you only need to incorporate 1 or 2 variations due to the triceps having 3 heads in total. The reason I say the triceps are controversial is their training. The big debate is between pushdowns and extensions. Some say one trains the long head better than the other. Truth is, they both do it all. Just pick one you like and stick with it consistently. You'll be fine. If you want bigger arms, the number one thing you can do is grow your triceps. Growing your arms is as easy as any other part of your body. All you have to keep in mind is a well-rounded approach. Don't obsess over the biceps in particular, but still give them some love. If you do all of this, you can have some rich pythons of your own.